rise to speak on the Road Safety Amendment Medical Cannabis Bill 2023. I'd like to congratulate Mr Edershank on his first private member's bill and thank him for introducing this matter for the consideration of the Parliament. Any members who are here for the last term of Parliament would know that our unjust drug driving laws are something that I'm very passionate about. In April 2021, I tabled a petition calling on the Legislative Council to give consideration to Recommendation 24 of the inquiry into drug law reform and refer the matter to the Legal and Social Issues Committee to inquire into alternative drug driving regimes and changes that address the concerns of medical cannabis patients. Things in politics move slowly, but the Premier's statements over recent weeks in regard to this matter are encouraging. I've been contacted by many constituents over the last 4 years who've been impacted by our drug driving laws. Some of these people were medical cannabis patients, others simply consume cannabis for their own reasons. The fundamental flaw with our approach to drug driving, in contrast to our drink driving laws, is that the mere presence of some illicit drugs in a person's body can result in the loss of a licence. This occurs without any allegation that a person's driving is impaired. In fact, they can be the safest driver in the world with an unblemished driving record and completely sober. But if they have consumed cannabis, possibly the night before or even days ago, they are at risk of losing their licence. At its core, this can only be described as an injustice. Nobody would disagree that reasonable efforts should be made to ensure that impaired drivers do not create hazards on our roads. However, impaired drivers are not targeted by our drug driving laws. For medical cannabis patients, this injustice is even more pronounced. Many people are put in the position of choosing between effective medical treatment and mobility. They can either be well or they can drive without risk of losing their licence. Medical cannabis patients, prescribing doctors and others that I've met in the sector have explained to me that patients do their best to comply with road safety laws, often foregoing their medication during the day to ensure there's no possibility of impaired driving and consuming cannabis in the evening. This is no guarantee that they will not be charged with a drug driving offence, however, as cannabis can remain detectable at levels long after its effects subside. One patient that contacted my office last year told about how this had impacted him. He was using medical cannabis to relieve symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder related to his time serving in Australia's Defence Forces. While driving one day, a truck collided at some speed with the vehicle behind him, causing it to roll into his vehicle. This was quite a serious collision, and while he was clearly not at fault, he made the mistake of honestly disclosing his status as a medical cannabis patient when asked by one of the responding officers. This led to a drug test which detected cannabis and an ongoing legal battle to retain his licence. I fully support this bill introduced by Mr Edershank and hope that we see some policy reform in our drug driving laws as soon as possible. Being a Libertarian is sometimes described as like being the only sober person in the car and no one will let you drive. The government is driving us into the dark.